I've always maintained that board games are a great activity for social events, sometimes like a social lubricant, if you will. That is not limited to just, hanging out with friends and playing, a game of just one or code names or something like that. You can also play with other people like your family. To chat about that, I've got Alison Prospect here to talk about playing games with parents.
Two of them.
Yes.
At least.
Yeah. What has been your experience with playing board games with parents? How have you found it?
So depends on which era of my life you're talking about.
Yep.
So as a child, my dad used Risk as an opportunity to teach me that you could not ever trust anyone, including your own family. And he would take any opportunity to double cross me in that game at the annual family Easter game of Risk that would take 3 to 4 days and occasionally spill over to Christmas.
What, you'd start playing and then rise again 3 days later?
Oh, yes. Look, I am an immaculate conception. It's how it works. And then more recently, we've been playing a lot of games with my parents whenever we go up to visit them as kind of a way to connect and chat. And so Mum, for a while, would only play Azul. So I think I played maybe 500 games of Azul, and I am not even exaggerating.
Yeah, my mum also sort of found Azul on her own and brought it into the family.
Mums love Azul, like all versions. And then
You heard it here first.
yeah, look, maybe Mother's Day is coming up at some point, or your mum's birthday. Buy Azul, she'll love it.
Can't go wrong.
And then Dad is obsessed with Carcassonne, and so every single time we go to visit him, we play we get up, we maybe go grocery shopping, and then we sit down and we play Carcassonne over morning tea, lunch, afternoon tea, during dinner, and then after dinner for a while, and then we all go to bed, and then we come back the next morning, wake up the next morning, and we play more Carcassonne. And I think we now have 13 expansions in there. So each game of Carcassonne takes
Forever.
2 to 3 hours,
2 to
and
3
we're
eternities.
fine with that.
Yeah, well,
But
that's the most important part, right?
yeah, like it's a good time, but it's dedication.
Yeah. You don't want to be like coercing your family members into playing games. That you have to save that for Christmas. Like,
Yeah, like if a family member is trying to coerce you into playing Monopoly, it's not okay, and you should seek help. What
Now,
about you, Prospect?
Prospect, I knew you were playing games and you had sort of a running total. I think every time I've would go to your house with Shane to play board games, we'd see who's winning at the moment.
that is a real thing, but it was a COVID thing. So I was in with the folks for COVID, and I did the thing where I pushed my hobby onto them, and we started playing Catan. And I don't like to say competitive, but I find I'm competitive when I'm winning. And I started off winning. Actually, no, I didn't start off winning.
I've never seen you like that.
Yeah, well,
Maybe
never?
'cause-
Not
yeah.
once? One train, that's all I need, one train. Third to first. We started playing Catan, and they caught on to it really quick. Our first 3 games was like 1 each. Mum started taking notes in her notebook, and whenever we'd bring it out, she'd get out her notebook and read it, not show anyone her notes. And we played like 30 games, and I know that because we go, all right, let's go like first to 10, and then I'll teach you a new game. And the score was like 10-9-9 by the end of it.
Wow.
But yeah, we had a lot of good times playing. What did I say? Catan over COVID.
We had a similar thing. Like my dad, when I tried to teach him Catan, just try and get him off Carcassonne for a minute, he printed out, he'd written up a strategy, a whole thing. And also Christmas and Easter now, we have the tournament of games where we keep track of who's winning all of the different games that we play. And we have 3 different tables set up.
Well, it was funny. I think last year, maybe late last year, it doesn't matter. When my sister came down from Sydney, we played Catan again. And it's been ages since we played Catan. And Mum got her notes out, and we were like, oh shit. And she whomped us, 2 games, not close. She completely whomped us. It's like, oh man, maybe we all should have taken notes. This is this is
I
the
was
thing.
say, weren't lockdowns bad enough without having to play 30 games of Catan?
I
No,
enjoyed
this is what
30
it was
games
like.
of Catan.
Ugh, no. Well, during lockdowns with my parents, we ended up playing Pandemic Legacy, Season 1. We played My City, another Legacy game, and then played a couple other sort of lighter games. I certainly try and pick games that I think they'll like.
Well, that,
Quaxo Quedlinburg has worked with them. Sagrada has worked with them. I haven't tried some of the heavier games. I'm like, it's not worth it.
Well, that's a really good point because it's like you have to pick the right game. And it's like I want to play the games that I want to play, but I really like sort of big heavy games. So it's like, oh, let's play War of the Rings. Like, no, that's not going to work.
But it's also not going to work with you and your parents because it's a two-player game.
That's true.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
they
what
can
I'm
go
thinking.
together. It's
Yeah,
fine.
they can be a team.
Yeah. But it's also like I don't want to dox my parents, but I'm in my late 30s and I'm the youngest of 4 kids, so they're not exactly spring chickens. So it's also like level of like I don't want to say competition, but like retention of information as well. We've all tried to teach board games to just our friends, let alone our aging parents. So the hardest I've gone, which has stuck, has been Terraforming Mars. They picked up Terraforming Mars quite nicely, although Dad has a habit of always finding the cards that lets him draw more cards. So we have like 20 cards in his hand, and his turns will be mostly reading, so which goes for a while. But no, it's it's a matter of finding the right game that you want to play, and you know they're going to want to play.
And it also helps if it's a game that you can easily refer to the rules. So we've played probably 200 games of Carcassonne at this point, 300, just so many games. And I still have to have the rule book next to me. So whenever Mum or Dad ask me like a complicated rules question, I'm like, I think I know the answer to this, but let's just refer to it because there's so many expansions. How do they interact? You have to have that. And also it is really important to be able to have something that's easy to grasp and go to the same things, especially as they get older and don't necessarily retain all the information.
Yeah, well, I think it's sort of very similar to someone who's a bit more casual. I found my parents kind of like are more likely to want to play the same game as opposed to learning a new one.
Very much so. Yeah.
That's sort of just how they're going. But I also know that my family will like playing Quest Quedlinburg and just sort of will try to annoy someone by shaking the pieces that are in coin capsules. I'd be like, which one are we going to take? So yeah, I guess you find games that you like, and then it's another way to spend time with family.
You also have to find a game that your whole family has a nice time on. We had to sit Dad down and be like, okay, just deliberately trying to like ruin the thing that everybody else is doing is not necessarily making other people have a good time. You also need to, like, teaching the game within the game is important. But also, like, we will never play Risk again as a family. And I think that's for the best. It's like, he's a very nice man, but he is very military strategic minded and does not necessarily remember that it's a family and you're just there to talk to each other.
You know, I've never played Risk. You should teach me one day.
I will.
Well, that's also the metagame of board games is life continues outside of the board game. If you be too much of a dick, people can't remember that. If you be too much of a dick to your family, they're going to remember that as well.
Yeah.
We're estranged now, but man, my high score was so high.
Yeah. But like, gosh darn it, I might be out of the will, but did you see how many, like, it's...
And that is playing board games with your family.